You are listening to The Vocal Technologist. Spoken tech for your ears.
Tools are getting better, output is getting worse. Both are true.
Yeah, it sounds like a total contradiction, doesn't it?
It really does.
But it's actually the exact reality of software development right now. I mean, the friction between speed and quality it's never been higher.
I've been untangling this for vocal technologists, and honestly, the sheer volume of what we can build today is just staggering.
Oh, absolutely.
You look at the raw horsepower available to anyone with a keyboard, and then you actually look at the apps and sites being pumped out, and you have to wonder if any of it is genuinely good.
Well, the financial markets are starting to ask that exact same question, Just look at the tectonic shift when Apple briefly toppled NVIDIA as the world's most valuable company.
Right.
That is a wild signal, if you read between the lines.
Let's pause on that, actually, because it sets the stage perfectly. I mean, NVIDIA is the absolute poster child for brute force infrastructure.
Yeah, exactly.
They make the chips, they build the server racks, they are the raw plumbing of artificial intelligence. But Apple is the exact opposite.
Right, they're the interface.
Yeah, they're the glass and aluminum rectangle you hold in your hand.
And that is the whole point.
Mm-hmm.
Investors are shifting their gaze.
Mm-hmm.
Because for a long time, the only thing that mattered was building these huge data centers and training larger models.
It's just raw power.
Exactly. But now the market is asking a very practical question, which is, how do these AI tools actually reach a human being?
Right.
Having all the processing power on Earth means absolutely nothing. If the app crashes or the layout gives you a headache or, the navigation is just a total mess.
Yeah. We're moving from the infrastructure phase to the interface phase, so we are going to have a proper look at that exact collision today.
I'm keen for this.
The absolute raw speed of AI banging out code, crashing straight into the reality of human design craft. Because the avalanche of output right now is just something else. Have you been tracking this whole vibe coding trend?
Oh, heavily, yeah. For anyone unfamiliar, vibe coding is the idea that you don't really write syntax anymore.
Oh.
You don't sit there typing out variables and loops. You just prompt an AI, guide the general vibe or the logic of the app in plain English, and let the agent spit out the actual software structure.
Which, I mean, that sounds brilliant in a vacuum.
It does.
But in practice, it means the App Store is getting absolutely flooded. It's like everyone suddenly got handed a nail gun.
Yeah.
And sure, we're framing houses heaps faster, but half the walls are crooked.
That is spot on. We're seeing app submissions doubling, just a complete avalanche of new software. But here is the kicker: downloads are basically flat.
Wow.
Yeah, people are not actually installing this stuff.
Because the quality just isn't there.
Exactly. It's highly derivative. If you go suss out developer communities, take the RioSaps subreddit, for example.
Yeah.
They are at breaking point. They're so fed up with these cookie-cutter, low-effort apps that they're actively demanding moderation systems from the admins.
You're kidding.
No, they want specific flare tags to flag vibe-coded apps because they're just tired of sifting through the rubbish.
Yeah.
Users are becoming highly skeptical of even legitimate new releases.
And it's bleeding into everyday office tools, too. Look at Google Vids.
Oh, yeah.
It started as a fairly straightforward presentation builder, but now it's evolving into a full-blown video platform where you can star as your own AI avatar.
Right.
You just give it a selfie, upload a quick voice recording, and it generates a digital version of you delivering the presentation.
Which puts them going toe-to-toe with dedicated platforms like HeyGen. And Google is using their Gemini Omni model to power it.
Omni being the key word there.
Exactly. It doesn't translate your text to code and then code into an image and then stitch audio on top.
Right.
It processes text, audio, and video natively all at once. So you can generate video from a prompt and then ask the AI to fix your background or tweak the lighting on your face step by step.
Without having to regenerate the whole file from scratch.
Yep.
And to stop people from doing anything too dodgy with it, they're embedding something called Synthai, right?
Yeah, Synthid. It's a watermarking technology, but it isn't like a logo stamped in the corner.
Right, it's invisible.
Yeah, it embeds a cryptographic signature directly into the pixels and the audio waves. Invisible to the human eye, but any platform can read it and instantly verify that the media is AI generated.
Okay, that's smart.
They tie that to your Google account and restrict the tool to adults. But, I mean, the fundamental ease of creation is just off the charts.
And then you have Figma. They're turbocharging the visual side of creation with their new Code to Canvas update.
This one is huge.
But I want to break down how this actually works because it isn't just an image generator. So explain this to me like I'm a 5-year-old who just learned to color inside the lines.
Okay. Traditionally, if an AI generates an interface, it gives you a static picture or it gives you a bunch of hard-coded dead pixels.
Right.
If the AI makes a button red, it just tells the computer, paint this hex code red. Figma's new update is totally different. It binds the generated elements to existing variables in your design file.
So a variable is like a central source of truth for a design system.
Exactly. So if you have a variable called brand primary red, the AI doesn't just guess a color. It links the new button to that specific token.
Oh, wow.
It brings in typography, spacing, and colors that match your company's actual code base. And it brings these frames in with auto layout intact.
Meaning the design is actually responsive. If I drag the corner of the frame, the buttons and text naturally reflow rather than just stretching and distorting.
That is the magic. Whether you're using their backend servers for generation or capturing live web pages through a Chrome extension, you're getting a responsive structure.
Right.
Teams can actually refine the design instead of having to rebuild it from scratch.
I have to push back here, though. There's a whole narrative that this is empowering designers, that they can finally ship real products without waiting on an engineering team.
Yeah, you hear that a lot.
But is it actual empowerment, or is it a false sense of security? I mean, if I generate a block of Swift or Python and it runs, I feel like a genius today.
Sure.
But what happens next month when it breaks and I don't actually understand the architecture I just shipped?
Well, that is the exact friction point right now. There was a fascinating survey published where 9 professional designers opened up about this.
Yeah.
The room was completely split down the middle. Half are riding that builder's high, energized by the thrill of shipping independently.
Right.
But the other half are incredibly worried, echoing your exact point.
They realize they're building on sand.
Yes, exactly. They feel it's pulling focus away from deep problem solving and user research.
Yeah.
Plus, it's causing significant friction with engineers when designers hand over AI-generated code that technically functions, but is structurally a nightmare to maintain.
Which brings us to the quiet part nobody is really saying out loud. If AI can write all this code and it can structure a layout, why does AI-generated design always feel a bit ordinary? Like it's just missing a soul.
It comes down to a core structural limit. Code can be automatically verified.
Right.
It either runs or it crashes. You can write automated tests to prove an algorithm sorts a list correctly. Design does not have an equivalent test.
No.
Design relies entirely on slow, subjective human taste.
You cannot write a unit test for, does this feel good to use?
Exactly.
And I reckon, I know why the AI struggles here. AI is basically a straight C+ student striving for absolute mediocrity.
That is a great way to put it.
Because mathematically, that is what a large language model is built to do. It predicts the most statistically probable next step based on its training data. And the most statistically probable design is, by definition, completely average.
Spot on.
It literally cannot invent the unexpected because it's chained to the mean of everything it has ever analyzed.
That tracks perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
Because AI lacks subjective taste, and because it generates interfaces blindly, it doesn't actually feel what it creates. It gravitates toward that mathematical middle.
Right.
And even when you introduce incredibly powerful structural tools, that limitation remains. Take Webflow's new MCP 2.0 upgrade.
Wait, pause on MCP. What is that actually doing under the hood?
MCP stands for Model Context Protocol. Think of it as a specialized bridge. Instead of an AI just spitting out text instructions for you to copy and paste, MCP allows the AI agent to actually push the buttons and pull the levers inside Webflow's software directly.
Wow, okay.
It can build components straight from screenshots. You can edit over 50 CSS design tokens, things like padding, margins, shadows, just by having a conversation with the interface.
That sounds incredibly powerful for a developer.
It's a huge leap.
Mm-hmm.
They've built instructions features where teams can embed always-on guardrails directly into the system. It manages forms, assets, custom code.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it is just executing commands. The system has the guardrails, but the AI cannot provide the taste.
Yeah.
It still requires a human to look at the screen and say, this solves the user's problem elegantly.
Look, if you're finding this untangling helpful and want to keep getting into the guts of these topics with us, hit subscribe. We love picking these things apart.
We do.
So If AI is flooding the zone with statistically average work, but it can easily fake a perfectly polished, highly competent user interface, how on earth do you prove you're actually a skilled human anymore?
It's getting tough.
If you're listening to this and you're a junior designer polishing a slick PDF portfolio right now, is that PDF actually going to get you a job?
Honestly, the portfolio is losing its weight entirely. AI has made polished case studies and take-home assignments incredibly easy to generate.
So easy.
You can spin up a stunning presentation that makes it look like you have a decade of experience, and it takes 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So the new battleground for hiring is what the industry is calling the room test.
The room test. Walk me through how that actually plays out in an interview.
Well, the proof of ability has shifted from artifacts to live, unscripted conversations. You get in a virtual room, they put one of your designs on the screen, and you have to explain your decisions under pressure.
Right.
If you chose a hamburger menu over a bottom tab navigation, why? What were the engineering constraints? How did the user testing impact that choice?
You can't just say, because it looked clean. You have to defend the mechanics.
Exactly. You have to discuss trade-offs and reflect on your failures in real time. An AI can fake a beautiful screen, but it cannot fake the judgment and the strategic thinking required to defend that screen in a live debate.
It relates directly to a massive philosophy in tech right now, make it work versus make it good.
Yes.
Making something work is often much easier to recognize, and AI can easily do the first 90%. It can make it functional. But true craft, the part that actually makes a product a joy to use, is the final 90%.
The math is a bit playful there, but the reality is true. The refinement takes just as much effort as the initial build, refining the usability, the performance, the micro-interactions, until the solution feels obvious.
Right.
That is what human designers are defending in these room tests, that final grueling push.
This lack of human taste doesn't just result in ugly apps, though. When you optimize purely for speed without a human acting as a moral circuit breaker, you actually get harmful products.
Oh, absolutely.
The fallout of careless design is getting serious. Let's look at Meta's scrapped Muse Image AI tool.
That is a perfect example of outsourcing judgment to a system prioritizing speed. Meta quietly launched a feature that allowed users to generate and edit images using photos from any public Instagram account without prior consent.
Wait, so I could just grab a professional photographer's public work, run it through the AI, and mangle it into my own creation?
Yes, and the mechanical failure of the design was that the feature was opted in by default.
Unbelievable.
You had to actively know about this obscure setting, dive into your privacy menus, and turn it off.
That's wild. The backlash must have been nuclear.
It was fierce. Creative professionals, talent agencies, privacy advocates. The uproar was immediate.
I bet.
Meta pulled the feature within 3 days and admitted they missed the mark. One critic aptly described their apology as being like a burglar apologizing for the mess.
Wow.
Yeah, it shows how platforms treat publicly shared content as raw training material unless a human forces them to stop.
But Meta is facing much larger consequences than a scrapped tool. When bad design choices scale up, they end up in court.
Yes, Meta is currently facing a 7-week jury trial in Tennessee.
Right.
The state is claiming that Meta intentionally used addictive design on Instagram, specifically to keep teenagers compulsively engaged.
Addictive design on trial. Let's break down the mechanics of that, because they're not just arguing that the content on Instagram is bad.
Yeah.
They're arguing that the actual interface choices, the infinite scroll, the variable rewards of notifications popping up randomly are psychologically harmful.
Precisely. They're dissecting the interface. The trial is split into liability and penalty phases, and Meta is facing potential fines of up to $1,000 per violation.
A violation.
Yeah.
That adds up.
Massively. Meta is arguing Section 230 protections and denying wrongdoing. But this is just one of many state litigations. When your button placements and notification logic are being analyzed by a jury for causing psychological harm, you have moved far beyond the ethos of move fast and break things.
And it isn't just about addiction, it's about basic access. You see companies treating accessibility as a compliance checklist. They can just tick off right at the end of a build.
Yes.
I read this documentation about a blind user trying to book a flight. It took them 11 minutes to complete a booking that takes a sighted user 90 seconds.
Which is a complete structural failure. That happens because screen readers rely on properly formatted code.
Right.
If an AI or a Rush developer just throws a bunch of unlabeled visual boxes onto a page, the screen reader just reads out a wall of unstructured gibberish.
It doesn't know what it's looking at.
Exactly. The user has to painstakingly tab through every single element to figure out what is a button and what is just text.
Treating accessibility like a compliance checklist is like building a 100-story skyscraper and trying to tape the emergency stairs to the outside right before you cut the ribbon.
That's a great analogy.
It's fundamentally broken from the start. It has to be part of the definition of done.
Well, to be fair to the builders out there, we are seeing some substantial course corrections back toward genuine craft.
Okay, good.
Some companies are finally realizing that if they don't get the basics right, all the shiny AI features in the world just do not matter.
Right, like X, formerly Twitter, they spent nearly a year entirely rebuilding their Android app from scratch.
It was a huge engineering effort. They didn't just bolt on new video tools. They tore the foundation down to fix the core experience.
Yeah.
They optimized the loading times, the scrolling smoothness, the reliability of notifications. They prioritized raw quality over shipping a new gimmick.
And WhatsApp is finally doing the same for Mac users. They're rolling out this liquid glass redesign that people have been begging for.
The goal there is visual consistency. It updates the navigation and adds dedicated sections for locked chats and communities.
Right.
It finally makes the Mac app feel like it belongs in the same design family as the iPhone app, rather than feeling like a forgotten cousin. It's an exercise in polish.
Even OpenAI had to learn this lesson the hard way with their Mac app. And I want to get into the technical reason why.
Well, OpenAI rolled out a redesigned ChatGPT app for Mac, and the interface was so confusing that users revolted.
Yeah, they did.
They had made it incredibly difficult to find standard chat history. OpenAI had to rapidly issue an update to restore easy access, adding a clear toggle between chat and work.
But the underlying issue is the architecture they use. Hold on, for those not deep in the dev weeds, they built it using an Electron framework.
Right.
Electron basically means you're running an entire hidden web browser in the background just to power a desktop app, right?
That is exactly what it is. It's a massive resource hog. Instead of feeling like a lightweight native Mac app that snaps to attention, it feels sluggish and disjointed. It raised serious questions about whether OpenAI was so focused on integrating flashy new AI capabilities that they forgot how to maintain a polished, functional desktop experience. They fixed the navigation complaints, but it still relies on that heavier framework.
And it isn't just software either. People want immaculate experiences in the physical world, which brings us all the way back to hardware. Apple is reportedly testing a massive new display.
Yeah, there are very strong rumors of a 7-inch, nearly creaseless display for a future foldable iPhone, often referred to as the iPhone Ultra.
Right.
Apple has notoriously avoided foldables because the physical experience wasn't up to their standards. They've reportedly been waiting for Samsung to eliminate that annoying physical crease down the middle of the screen.
Because you cannot just ship a flawed hinge and say, but the software is smart.
Exactly.
Samsung's latest Galaxy Z Fold Ultra shows a display that is essentially crease-free, and that's exactly the panel Apple is expected to adopt. It shows that people still demand absolute physical perfection.
Whether it's a 7-inch foldable screen or the subtle spacing of text in a digital layout, the physical and digital experiences have to be immaculate. As AI collapses the gap between having nothing and having an adequate product, genuine craft becomes the only remaining differentiator.
It's assured discipline. It's not just on the designers, engineers, product managers, leadership. Everyone has to own that commitment to quality.
The standard should not be, does this technically run without crashing? The standard needs to be, would I recommend this to someone I actually care about?
Yes.
That is how a product earns a user's trust.
I reckon that's exactly where this whole industry is heading. We are moving past the hype phase and entering the consequence phase.
Oh, for sure.
AI might be able to write the code, it might be able to spit out a statistically average layout, but the most valuable skill moving forward won't be prompting a machine. It'll be the ability to genuinely care about the end user's experience and fight for that final 90% of refinement.
If you lose sight of the human context, the trust, the psychology, the actual needs of the person on the other side of the glass, all the technical speed in the world won't save a bad product.
Exactly. Before we go, chew on this thought. If the unscripted room test becomes the absolute gold standard to prove you have human taste and judgment, what happens when companies start using AI voice agents to conduct those interviews?
Oh, wow.
Will a machine eventually be the one judging whether you have enough human empathy to get the job? It is a wild loop to consider. If you want to keep picking these topics apart with us and see where the craft is actually heading, make sure you turn on your notifications. Vocal Technologists, see you soon.
Spoken Tech for your ears.